Hello, patrons, and welcome to the Notion Digital Grimoire. And I am just going to be walking you through it and showing you how it is. At the time I'm filming this, I might make some tweaks and things before I post it, but it will, mostly look like this. So, the first thing that I want to say is this is what it's going to look like when you open it up. You are going to be able to save it as your own template. You are not editing, this original one. You are making it completely your own. So you make any changes that you want to make. And when you first pull this up, it is going to be this light color, but I will show you in just a minute how to change it to the dark version. And then the rest of this video, I'm going to walk you through on the dark version. So Notion is completely free. There is a pro account that I haven't even bothered, trying to figure out or anything because this free version has worked fine for me. Notion, you have to know, there's also an app with it, that you have to know it is a steep learning curve. So in the beginning, that really puts people off from it. But once you get the hang of it, it covers like absolutely everything. You don't need anything else in your life. So it's worth it to take the time to get to know it. And hopefully this walkthrough will help, but also the way that I have this set up in general will hopefully help because the initial work has been done for you. So it should be pretty intuitive at this point. Okay, with those out of the way, let's get started. So the first thing that I am going to do is change it into the dark mode, which has like the black background because I just prefer it and I think that it looks better. So that is going to be in your settings over here. And it's going to be my notifications and settings right here. Appearance, right now it's on light, that's the default, and I am just switching it to dark. And that's it. And then this clock right here has an option when you hover over it, this appears at the bottom and you can switch it also to dark mode. So that is what I'm doing. This right here can be taken away with this arrow. So that is what it looks like on the full screen. This is what I chose as the cover picture. And I'm just going to show you this once, but know that every photo can be changed. You just go to change cover here. They have options here. You can upload your own. What I do is go to Unsplash because all of their photos are free. And you can type in whatever it is that you're looking for. So a lot of times I just looked for witch or moon or spell, and you have all of these different options that come up. So you will probably see some of these photos as we go through the template. But that is how you change the pictures. First up, I have a weekly to-do list. So there are options for every day of the week. I have a task list down here for spell prep because a lot of times we plan out doing things for, the Sabbats or the new moon, full moon, and we need supplies to get ready for those. So I just have examples in here. Finding some white candles is usually on my task list. I always run out of those. Here are the different folders, which we will go through in just a minute. Down here is your calendar of spells and rituals. So like you can see here, on the 25th of September, the new moon. So you can just click on that. I put it as the category here, which you can change. I have it as moon magic. These are the ones that I placed in here, but I will show you a little bit below that you can change any of these and you can put in any new ones that you want relatively easy. So then when you are looking for one in particular or want to see what you did in previous months, you can just pull up that category and see everything. And down here is where you can just write notes and comments. You can plan, you can see how it's going, the date, you have the status of whether it started, in progress, or done, what type it is. I have ritual, spell, project, and other, but feel free to add anything that you like. My note here was just like, maybe I want to do a crystal grid for this one. And it looks the same when you click, add an item. That page pops up and you can fill it out however you like to plan out your spells and rituals. Down here I have a section for goals, which I think will be a good tool at the beginning of the year, whether you consider that Samhain as your start over of the year or if you consider it January 1st. Just to keep some goals at the forefront of your mind. And then these are the pages that I have besides the folder. So that is that spells and rituals, daily magic tracker, dream journal, and reading list. So let's pull this open so you can see. Here are the different folders, and then here are those lists. So let's start with correspondences. Now you can click this arrow and see all of these. But to keep it clean, let's just put this away for now. So the pages of the folders each look like this. With correspondences, there's a to-do list, there's a place to add resources, and then the notebooks are here. When you click on the resources, it just has how you can create, put in any sort of link that you want to make it easier for you to find again. And again, a little to-do list that you can have related to your correspondences. Correspondences I have in here: astrological signs, colors, crystals, days of the week, herbs, and moon magic. But there are obviously plenty of different correspondences that you can add. Maybe you work more with animals or with different deities. You might want to add all of those in here or take out whatever you don't need. So let's just walk through each one. Astrological signs. I have all of them listed here, starting with Aries. But I'm going to get to check out the Scorpio page because that's my sun sign. Again, you can change these covers. I have a picture of a scorpion, but maybe you hate them, so you want to change the cover on there. I had the date that is Scorpio season. Some highlights, that the planetary associations with Scorpio are Pluto and Mars. It's a water sign. In general, Scorpio season or a Scorpio moon is good for protection, self-defense, banishing, vengeance, fertility, death, rebirth. Virgo. Looking the same, but earth sign, Mercury, cleansing, employment, changing. So it's all things that just some quick little notes here, and then this is where you would fill out your own information because everybody's important information and experience with the signs are going to be completely different. So let's go back to this correspondences page. We get into colors, set up the same way. I have some highlights here for you about the color yellow, and that's where you would just work on your notes with the color yellow. We also have crystals. Now this one I want to show you because there are a few different ways that you could set this up. You could either go crystal by crystal that you have in your collection, like I did here. So this would be amethyst, where you would put your own, notes here with the color amethyst, some highlights. You could also instead group them by cleansing. So you could do a full, page of crystals for cleansing like I have here, list them all out here, and write your own experiences here. So I have, cleansing, protection, and travel. You could also, if you wanted to have them all listed out instead of, having this say crystals for cleansing, you could just click here and duplicate this page. That's the easiest way to get them to all look the same. Just duplicate what I already did for you and then list them all out underneath. So have a clear quartz page and a selenite page underneath the heading of cleansing. And I did something like that over here where I did everything that's in the quartz family. So if you'd rather group it by type of crystal, then the quartz family is clear quartz and rose quartz and amethyst and citrine, smoky quartz. All of those would go under here. So it's really about how you would like to see that grouped and the way your brain works. You have days of the week. Pretty straightforward. Herbs. And again, this is one that you can change to your preference. So you can either have them all listed out one by one, or you can have them listed out by use. So if you wanted to have this cleansing page and then list all of the herbs for cleansing underneath, that would be the way to do that. When they have moon magic here, they have the different moon phases. And what the different full moons are each month. I want to pop into August of 2023. So I have the dates of the full moons for next year. And then I put this note here because there's a second full moon in August. I did not make a separate page for it, but that is why it's called a blue moon, because it is the second full moon in a calendar month. So that is the Correspondences page. And that, again, goes right here. So next up is the Astrology. This I pulled, it updates, every different day. So September 19th is when I am filming this. And if you click on it, it will give you your daily horoscope. If you're not interested in that, you just click here to delete it. Down here is the birth chart. I filled in all this information. This is my birth chart. I just went to, there's so many different websites. Just get one where you like the picture, how it turns out, that you can get your birth chart for free. And you would just screenshot it and replace this image with your own birth chart and fill in that information in here. Now, a fun one that I have here under resources is a Notion template that was created by somebody else and it's free. So I added the link to it here so it opens up in your own digital grimoire. And then you can see that it was made by Daniela, and she has, different options if you want to see the complete one that you would pay for from her that you could also add to your own Notion. That's how you would do that. And then she has all this information when you click each one. So I wanted to include that as a link there. And again, you can see that here, that it would open to this page. And there are some fun free templates online. So if you want to add those, but you could also pay for them and add them into your grimoire, whatever it is that you feel like you need. And I should say at this point, you can also add templates down here that Notion has their own that you can work with. So there are a few different options in here. So next up is the Sabbats page. Again, I have the to-do list, I have the resources here, and then here is the table of spells and rituals. So I put one in for each Sabbat in 2023, just so you could see how that I categorized them and was able to, pull them up. So I made the Sabbat one For Samhain, I made them all rituals, but again, you can change that if you're just doing a quick spell instead. And then categorize them under Sabbats and Samhain just to make them easier to find once you have, your grimoire going and you have more than one. And as you can see, I have the filter on right here. That's why it's lit up as blue. And I have it to only show the category of Sabbats. So if I took that away, it would show also the ones that I labeled as moon magic or protection or any of the other ones. And since we're on the Sabbat page, I just want it to show Sabbat. So I'm going to go back and make it just Sabbats. So then here it goes into the different notebooks, and I have one for each. And that is what it looks like. I need the date, some correspondences that I filled in for you from the podcast information. This would be a great place to take notes as you are listening to the podcast. Take notes of anything that you want to try or do. And then down here, I pulled up the table as well, and I did the filter as just Samhain instead. So it's only showing the Samhain spells. So again, as you grow your practice and grow your grimoire, you'll be able to have a whole list of the things that you have done for the different Samhain seasons. So let's move into recipes. Again, the to-do list, which I put season your cauldron, and then I left a resource here for how to season your cast iron cauldron. I have food, drinks, herbal remedies, and spell ingredients. So I have these are both available on Patreon already. But this would be a great way to save those from Patreon. So if you would like them to be a little easier to find or save only the ones that you're interested in, you can easily put them here. So we have the Beltane Bannocks, and Tara's Mabon Pumpkin Soup, which I literally just copied and pasted from Patreon, so it saved all of her photos in here too, which is nice. And her dog Bo. So if you want to add another one, again, I recommend just duplicating this so it turns out exactly the same, and then just changing the names of everything, and then obviously the information inside. And again, you can set this up however you want. So if you prefer this category to just be Beltane food, then you can instead copy just this one underneath and put another recipe underneath there. Maybe you prefer to do, salads or main courses or desserts. That would also be a way to organize that. I have drinks. Again, all three of these are from previous Patreon posts. So I just copied and pasted and moved them over into here. I have herbal remedies, elderberry syrup, and fire cider. And then I have the spell ingredients as well under recipes, because that is how I organize them on Patreon. I put them as recipes because that's just the way that I remember them. So black salt, fiery wall of protection oil, and Florida water are the ones that are listed in here. And again, these are the different ways that you could set them up. So I have just the black salt by itself, but in this category I have cleansing. So you could have a few different ways that you can cleanse. Florida water might be one of them, but I personally don't love the smell of Florida water, so I might add something else that I use for cleansing, a different type of cleansing water or a different type of oil or bath salts that I would put underneath cleansing. Next up is the spell planning. And in here I have the spell planner, Sabbat and Esbat planner, and spell progress tracker. So these are just notes of how I do things. So I would take this information and use it to plan out my own spells underneath here. So when I am making a new page of a new spell, I would include this different information. So this is really just as a note to you of things to consider when you are planning out your spells. Which is a little different for Sabbats and Esbats because those celebrations tend to be a little different. And then here is the progress tracker, things that I like to check in on, especially for, longer spells, just to know, did I do divination afterwards and what happened, and then how it is progressing. Especially if, I'm doing a longer one that's going to be 3 months, I need to know what's happening then. So going back to this main page, those are those here. You can add as many as you need. You would just duplicate, and that would duplicate the correspondences folder and everything inside of it. And then you can change the different names as you see fit. So let's get into what these pages are here. And those you can see over here. So first off is the spells and rituals. So this is the full template table of all of your spells and rituals. So I don't have this, filtered at all. So it's showing everything that I put in there. Like the new moon ritual that I showed you. None of these are filled out yet. That is for you to do and decide. And I do have, rituals on there for each Sabbat already on Patreon if you wanted to copy and paste those into here or to try something new. I just wanted to be able to show you how this looks like all set up, and you can, go in here and change the color. If you don't want Beltane to be yellow, you change the colors in here. You change the date, you can put quick little notes. And then when you open it up, you can make your full notes in here. Next, I have the daily magic tracker. So this is something that I talked about on the podcast, this acronym, if you are trying to create a general, daily routine to make sure that you are incorporating magic into your life. That is what those stand for. And this is just a way to check those off, that if you were able to get to them each day. Here I have just a journaling page to make a dream journal. It can just be a regular journal if you don't track your dreams. But again, you would just click to add an item, and then you can title it whatever you want, date, and then fill out your information here about what your dream was, so you are able to go back and look at those. And then here is this reading list, because I know we love keeping track of all of our books. So on this main reading list page, this is the template straight from Notion itself. So I went here and added the reading list template. So they have all media on here. So they have listening, reading, watching, anything that you are doing related to witchy media, you can include here. You can give it a score, put the author, publisher, you can link to it, like I linked to Witch Wednesdays already, put your little summary in there so you can keep track of what you are doing. But here I also put a more traditional book list for you. Want to read and read. And these are just linked from Amazon. So all you would have to do is just add a book here and create the link here, and it would create one of these bookmarks. And then once you have read it, you can drag it over right here to move it into the read page. So it's a great way to track what you have read throughout the year, because I know that we are in September, or when you are listening to this, that we are already in October, and I have completely forgotten what I read, in March. So I like being able to go back and see, not only everything that I was watching and listening to, different podcasts, different episodes, but also specifically what I read and then what I want to read. Especially, I like to track what I would like as a gift, because books can add up. So I like to ask for books for my birthday and for the Yule season. And I will go ahead and change that I right now, because that's annoying. So I feel like that is everything that I wanted to show you for this template. Again, this is just from YouTube. You can change it. You would just get a new link and replace it right here. So there's a lot that you can do with this. And like I said, Notion is a steep learning curve, but absolutely worth it. So I highly recommend playing around with it. If you have any questions, absolutely let me know and I can help walk you through it. But I think the best way to learn Notion is to just do it and just play around with it, and know that it is going to take some time, but that it will be a lot of fun and enjoyable in the end. So if you are a digital person, this is for you. If you need to stay more in the broom closet and don't want, all of your information, your books of spells laying around, this is a great option to just keep this online. But that is everything that I have. So if you have any questions, absolutely let me know, and I will see you in the next one.